Good morning. Today we will talk about code switching. Okay, at first let's talk about what is code switching. So, an introduction to code switching. There are some phenomena of language which occur in societies to make communication more effective and meaningful. One of these phenomena is code switching, which we can observe mostly in second or foreign language classrooms. So it refers to the use of two languages within a sentence or discourse. The definition is code switching is the use of more than one language, a variety, or style by a speaker within an utterance or discourse or between different interlocutors or situations. So as you can see in the picture, so in your mind you think your own language, like hello, but through your tongue you will speak in another language. Okay, so as an example, you can see the examples of code switching between Arabic and English language. Okay, let's continue. Speakers of more than one language are known for their ability to code switch or mix their language during the communication. People switch code within a domain or social situation, and in the next case, like the switch will be clear when there is an obvious change in the situation. So here you can see the example. So code switch may be related to a particular participant or addressee. So a speaker may similarly switch to another language as a signal of group membership and shared ethnicity within an addressee. So as an example, you can see here so Günaydın girls, did you study for today's quiz? So here you can see the switch between English and Turkish languages. In the second example, you can see the switch between Arabic and English languages. As you see in the first part of the sentence, there is given Arabic words, and in the second part, like English. Okay, let's continue. So what about the situational switching? It refers to the tendency in a bilingual or multilingual community to use different languages or language varieties in different social situations. It may be based on the topic, on the addressee in the institution, or on any specific combination of situational factors. So, an example of situational code switching is can occur in the shops. Salespeople often switch to the language of their customers. And of course, bilinguals find it easier to discuss particular topics in one code rather than another. So when a speaker switches code to a code, a person or give a proverb, like my father used to say blah blah blah. So as you see, it's written in Arabic language. And some people used to postpone during their work and they ended up wasting their time without achieving anything. So Arabic proverb says, unfortunately I don't know what's written here. So the functions of code switching are to show the identity with a group, to stress the fact that they are all belong to this group, lack of facility, lack of register, to attract attention. So what is lack of facility? It's switch when they cannot find an appropriate expression or vocabulary item. So in this case, you can mix both languages. I mean, two languages. And in the lack of register, when speakers are not equally competent in two languages, so you are disbalanced. I mean, you have disbalanced knowledge in two languages. And the fourth one is to attract attention. It shows that in advertisements, in both written as well as in the spoken, in India, so for example, in India, code switching is used to attract the attention of the readers or listeners. And the next one is about language. So, language switch from L to H can signal disapproval when switched to express anger using different styles of English. and it's also used for amusement and dramatic effect by telling joke for expressing emotions. So metaphorical switching, it's a type of code switching where each of the code represents or symbolizes a set of social meanings. Just as using a metaphor, it requires being skillful. So it's written here like give the devil his due. So in the next example, you can see birds of a feather flock together. So what about the lexical borrowings of code switching? So lexical borrowing is the adoption of individual words or even large sets of vocabulary items from another language or dialect. So lexical borrowing is results from the lack of vocabulary and it's motivated by lexical need. So when speaking a second language, people will often use a term from their first language because they don't know the appropriate word in their second language. So as you see, people pronounce it and use grammatically if they were part of the speaker's first language. So examples, as you can see, there are the borrowing words from Arabic language and originated in English language. Plastic, automatic, tennis. So linguistic constraints. So there are very general rules of switching. These rules are universal. The switches occur within sentences, like intrasentential switching. It's like when there is a linguistic equivalence between the two codes, meaning when there is a point where the grammars of both codes match each other. So as you can see, there are given in this table are given the English, French language. So in the English language, read both. So I'm really afraid like I will read it in incorrect way, but roche or something like that. So there is not possibility of switching points. So big house, grande maison, I guess I read it in a correct way. It's like yes. So as I mean like there can be possibility of switching. Okay, as we continue, you can see the attitudes to code switching. So how people accept code switching. People are often unaware of the fact that they code switching. And when their attention is drawn to their behavior, many tend to apologize for it. So for example, among Mexican Americans, the derogatory term Tex-Mex is used to describe rapid code switching between Spanish and English. So as you can see from this lesson, like code switching is an automatic and is an usual thing. And when sometimes like it's a natural thing as I mentioned before. So if you like use code switching, never be ashamed of using this. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.